Welcome back to Kleppers Corner, where history isn't just remembered. It's dragged into the present, judged harshly, and roasted until crispy. Today we dive into September 17th, a date that basically moonlights as the overachiever of the historical calendar. Other days have a single big moment. September 17th, it's the kid who not only aced the test, but also invented the test, started a protest outside the school, and then blew up the chemistry lab for good measure. From the Constitution to Antietam to Harriet Tubman to a Miss America scandal, this date has range, like Kanye-level range, minus the Twitter meltdowns. Let's unpack it. Segment 1, the birth of the Constitution, America's original group project. On this day in 1787, America signed the Constitution, the OG instruction manual for democracy. Before that, we had the Articles of Confederation, which was less government framework and more suggestion box stapled together by a drunk uncle. States were printing their own money, arguing over taxes, and basically reenacting the Thanksgiving dinner where everyone brings turkey but nobody brings plates. So the delegates lock themselves in Philadelphia, swear secrecy, and crank out compromises like a college group chat at 3 a.m. The Great Compromise gave us a bicameral Congress, because if you can't solve a problem, just create two separate rooms to argue about it forever. And of course, slavery was solved with the infamous 3/5 Compromise. That's right. America launched with a constitution that counted enslaved human beings like loose change in your pocket. Inspirational stuff. But somehow, 39 guys signed it, and boom, we had a constitution. The Federalists went full marketing campaign with the Federalist Papers. The Anti-Federalists grumbled, and eventually everyone agreed to tack on a Bill of Rights like the warranty extension you only remember when your fridge breaks. And to this day, it's still in effect, proving you can duct tape democracy and it might actually hold. Segment 2, Washington's farewell, the OG mic drop. Fast forward to 1796, same date, September 17th. George Washington drafts his farewell address. After 2 terms, he says, "I'm good." That's right. The guy literally could have been King George 2.0, but instead, he steps aside like the world's most responsible roommate giving up the lease. And his big message? Don't form political parties and don't get tangled in foreign alliances. America responded by immediately forming political parties and immediately tangling itself in foreign alliances. Washington must be watching C-SPAN from heaven going, "Really, guys? I left you alone for 5 minutes." But his precedent, 2 terms and out, stuck until FDR, who treated term limits like a Netflix "Are you still watching?" prompt. Thanks to George, peaceful transfer of power became an American hallmark, or at least it used to be. Segment 3, Antietam, the bloodiest day America said, "Hold my beer." Jump to 1862, the Battle of Antietam, otherwise known as the worst bring your bayonet to work day ever. It was the bloodiest single day in American history, 23,000 casualties in 12 hours. That's not a battle, that's a meat grinder festival sponsored by General Lee. The Union had Lee's secret battle plans, literally found wrapped around cigars. Imagine losing a war because your intern left the strategy binder at Panera Bread. And yet, despite having the cheat sheet, McClellan still couldn't seal the deal. The guy was so cautious he could have been outmaneuvered by a Roomba. Lincoln turned it into a win by issuing the Emancipation Proclamation 5 days later, which reframed the war from saving the Union to ending slavery. Huge moral shift. And also the reason Britain and France backed away from helping the Confederacy. So yeah, out of the bloodiest day came one of the clearest moral victories. History is messy like that. Kind of like your kitchen after you just made a sandwich. Segment 4, Stalin and Hitler's terrible roommate agreement. September 17th, 1939. Poland thought it was just fighting Germany. Surprise, Stalin crashes through the back door with the Soviet Union. Turns out, Hitler and Stalin had a secret pact to split Poland like a timeshare in Florida. Germany got Warsaw, Stalin got the East, and Poland got nothing, except mass executions and deportations. Molotov, Stalin's spin doctor, said Poland ceased to exist, which is a pretty bold excuse for an invasion. Like if you steal your neighbor's car and say, well, technically the car no longer existed in their driveway. This invasion sealed Poland's fate, triggered decades of suffering, and taught the world the classic lesson. If Hitler and Stalin agree on something, you should probably run. Segment 5, Operation Market Garden, a bridge too far, literally. Now to 1944. The Allies launch Operation Market Garden, the biggest airborne drop in history, meant to end World War II by Christmas. Spoiler, it didn't. Montgomery's big plan was drop thousands of paratroopers behind enemy lines and race tanks up one road to link up. Easy, right? Except the road was about as wide as a bike lane, radios didn't work, and oh yeah, 2 German panzer divisions just happened to be chilling in Arnhem. The result? Heroic paratroopers stranded, tanks stuck in traffic worse than the Jersey Turnpike, and an operation forever nicknamed a bridge too far. Montgomery basically planned the war equivalent of trying to beat rush hour with one easy pass. Brave effort, bad logistics. Segment 6, Harriet Tubman, the real Moses. September 17th, 1849. Harriet Tubman escapes slavery, alone at night using the North Star as her GPS. That single act launched her legendary career, guiding dozens of people to freedom. Not 300, not with a quilt code, that's myth. But her bravery was real, and she never lost a passenger. She earned the nickname Moses. Except Moses didn't have to dodge slave catchers and bribe sheriffs while carrying a revolver. Tubman's courage was the blueprint for resistance. And unlike most people today who complain their Uber is 3 minutes late, she walked 90 miles to freedom. That's badass. Segment 7, Solidarity, cracks in the Iron Curtain. On this date in 1980, Poland's Solidarity movement officially formed. Picture a shipyard union that became a full-blown revolution. 10 million members by 1981. That's not a union, that's a new country with better branding. The communist government cracked down, declared martial law, and arrested leaders. But the movement survived underground. By 1989, it forced elections, toppled communism in Poland, and inspired revolutions across Eastern Europe, all from shipyard strikes. America had "We are the 99%." Poland had "We are the 10 million, and we actually win." Segment 8, Camp David, Carter's marathon mediation. September 17th, 1978. Carter drags Egypt's Sadat and Israel's Begin to Camp David. 12 days of tense negotiations, door slamming, and Carter basically playing camp counselor with 2 world leaders. Somehow he pulls it off. Egypt recognizes Israel, Israel gives back Sinai, and everyone gets a Nobel Prize except Carter, who had to wait 24 years for his. Classic middle child energy. The deal didn't solve everything, but it kept Egypt and Israel from fighting again, which in Middle East history counts as a miracle. Unfortunately, Sadat was assassinated 3 years later for making peace, proving once again, no good deed goes unpunished. Segment 9, Miss America, Vanessa Williams, progress and backlash. September 17th, 1983. Vanessa Williams becomes the first black Miss America. Huge milestone, shattered a glass ceiling with a tiara. But then unauthorized nude photos surface, and she's forced to resign less than a year later. America basically said, "Congrats on breaking barriers, now let's publicly humiliate you." Williams turned it around, building a powerhouse career in music and acting. Lesson learned, never underestimate the ability of America to both crown you queen and drag you through the tabloids in the same breath. Segment 10, from crash to shuttle. September 17th, 1908, the first airplane crash fatality. Orville Wright survives, but Lieutenant Thomas Selfridge dies, proving flight is dangerous. Fast forward 68 years, NASA unveils the Space Shuttle Enterprise. From wood and canvas killing one guy to a $1 billion spaceship capable of orbit. And yes, named after the Star Trek ship, because nerds run NASA. It's a reminder, progress is built on failure. You don't get space shuttles without a lot of broken wings along the way. History hurts, but then it flies. Segment 11, the grab bag. September 17th also gave us Boston's founding in 1630, the NFL's birth in 1920, the Who's TV explosion in 1967, Keith Moon literally detonated his drum kit, and Occupy Wall Street in 2011, proving that sleeping in a park can sometimes change national discourse. And birthdays galore. Hank Williams, John Ritter, Jimmy Fallon, Patrick Mahomes. If you need proof September 17th makes icons, just look at that lineup. In conclusion, so there you have it, September 17th, a day of contradictions, progress and bloodshed, liberation and invasion, crowning moments and crushing backlash. It's basically the human experience wrapped into 24 hours. And if history teaches us anything, it's that the calendar doesn't care. One date can give you Harriet Tubman and the Battle of Antietam, the Constitution and Stalin's invasion. September 17th reminds us history is messy, loud, tragic, and inspiring all at once. And, much like America, it only makes sense if you laugh to keep from crying.